And all righty, recording in progress because today is going to be amazing. You guys all know my favorite system called StreetText that I've generated, I don't know, 86,000 leads, something like that from their company. I've been using them 5 years. They are amazing, my go-to for everything that has an ad running behind it. So whether it be list of homes or for my listings or for what's your home really worth, lots of good seller ads out there that have 9-month funnels attached to it. Not to mention all the retargeting. I get to retarget everybody in Follow Up Boss because they have a direct integration, along with everybody from my Facebook business page, my Instagram business page, my video views, and pretty much everybody that I want to be in front of. So it has a full thing of retargeting, and then it has ad bundles, which I'm kind of going crazy with. I don't know if you guys have looked at my account, Jonathan, but like I have so many bundles now. Like, because I got a bundle for each property, because we do reels, we do the full video, and we do static posts. So we're having those rotate per bundle so
That's
that
awesome.
there's different marketing for each property. So anyway, I'm loving that. You can run those on regular reach. You can also run them through retargeting. So we're doing both. But anyway, but that's not what we're talking about today. Today, we are talking about the new AI tools inside of StreetText. And so we got some I see Steven, I see Jonathan. They are in the house, so I'm going to turn it over to them. I'm going to make everybody a co-host today and go from there. And then I did give you guys driving privileges if you want to share screens today, all the good stuff.
So just before kick it off, I just want to say, Wendy, like you're one of my favorite people. I think I've told you this before, but like what I one of the things I see that is so cool that we all get to be blessed by is like the amazing, incredible like giving culture that Wendy brings every single day in the world. And it's funny because I have this friend, Ryan Gagnon, and I was thinking about him this morning because I was thinking about Wendy and I thought about him. He used to work up north in the rigs. And I remember when he started to work there, he said he made a decision because he joined a crew and they were very different than him, let's say. And he said, either I change and I become like them, or, I stay the same and they'll become like me. And about 8 years passed. And he told me, yeah, he's like the whole crew, they became like they had changed. And I think that sometimes it's like we look at the world and we're like, well, what would we like the world to look like? And I'm just gonna be me. I'm gonna be my authentic self, and then watch what happens in the culture around us. And I feel like that's what's happened with real estate with Wendy. So anyways, I really I said that, I meant that, but like
Love
Wendy's one of
that.
my favorite people. Yeah.
That's
All
very
right,
cool.
let's kick in. And I know that so many of you think the same and feel the same. So it's just very good. I just love the community aspect and the culture and the heart. So one thing that I want to demo today is StreetText AI. And actually, Steve, we can have you go through some of this.
Do you want me to hop in the driver's seat for a little bit?
Yeah, why don't you kick this off and then we'll go from there.
The only downside is I was making a wonderful little update for everybody on this meeting today, and I went and slightly broke something. So but what I'm going to do is, John, if I share my screen, I'm just going to walk everybody through it, and then I'll have it fully ready, but I'll make sure you have the link for that just at the end here. But what I want to do,
That's perfect, Steven. You just kind of broke something.
I know.
That's my
I
life.
know it's fun. It's part of the fun. Can you guys see my whole screen here? Oops, am I sharing the wrong one? Wait, let me just make sure I'm sharing the right one. Can you see my desktop one here, right? You can see kind of everything on my screen.
Yeah,
Is
we
that
see
right?
your desktop.
Okay, cool.
Yeah.
All right. So I just want to show you a couple things here and I'll walk you through some of the AI features that we have today. I'm going to start with some of the ones that we had a few months ago and then lead you into some of the really cool stuff and kind of show you what John was just about to show you there as well. So First thing I want to point out is that when you're in StreetText and you're in the launch ad section of StreetText, one of the things that you might not have known, and this came up a lot, is people would say, hey, we love all your ads. You got all these cool templates. And, as many of you know, if you don't know, the reason we template these ads is so that we can show you exactly how well each ad is performing. So for example, if I hover over this one here, you can see there's a ton of these ads that are active right now. But the cool thing is that the cost per email is about $4.72, and that's aggregated across Canada and the US. And so it gives you a much better more confidence that if you're going to run an ad, you know that if you're going to spend money on Facebook and you use our ads and you use one of these templates, you're probably going to do pretty good. But if you're starting to get, like, say, $15 a lead, maybe that ad needs an adjustment or something's off, because the average is sort of about that 472, right? And some markets will be higher, some will be less, because that's an average. But it gives you some really good confidence when you're launching ads. We're not going to go through how to launch an ad today or any of that. I'm assuming a lot of you know it. And again, this isn't the image you have to use. But what I wanted to point out was, you'll notice there's this customize button below it. Now, this one has it. You'll notice a few other ones. This one has it. So not every ad has it. This one ad has it. And what this essentially means is that you don't have to use our language. We have made it so that if you click customize, you could actually come in here if you wanted to, and you could customize anything. So in the past, if you use this template, you could only have put in, say, the city we live in. Actually, I'll just say Las Vegas for now. See all available. Oops, I should have said I'm not using the template, so now it's breaking. All available homes. Get a list of all Las Vegas homes for sale or what. Now, if I was doing this in the previous template, I would have. It's funny. I'm doing it wrong here, but anyways, you get the idea. In fact, that's the reason the template is so useful, is that you can't mess it up like this. But now that I'm in here and I'm making these changes, I could actually change anything. I could just say see all homes. So this is one of the nice things about these customized templates, is that you can change anything you want. But what we added, and you might not have known, is we actually added this remix ad copy in here. And it has the ability to change our writing style. So you could have like engaging content, desire, or concise. And these are all very well-documented copywriting styles that we leverage. And if I was to do this, and if I go to the next step, you can see, of course, now I'm going to break it. Let me use this one here. Let me go to this one. Let me click customize here. This one will be an easier one to do, because looking to downsize your home but not your lifestyle, I don't have to go and put any changes in this one. And if I grabbed an image here and I click next, you can see here's all the forms. All of this you can now customize. But let's say you don't really want to go to all that work, but you do want something a little bit different. If you click this remix ad copy, what our system is going to do is it's going to rewrite the ad, but it's going to make sure that it keeps it very, very concise. Because again, when I hovered over these templates, they have, there's obviously all the stats are linked to them. So when we make changes, we want to make very, very slight changes that make sure that this ad stays consistent to what it was, that you're going to still get similar results. And so that's essentially what this is doing here. And of course, you could actually go back and see the old one. This was the previous one. Here's the new one. You could do the same thing on each of these steps. And what's cool about it is when I click next now, all of these form fields have been customized as well. But again, maybe you preferred what it used to say, or you could even change. If you just ran this little button here, it'll actually even customize just this one field. And so the first thing I wanted to point out, this was the first beginning stages of our AI, and I'm going to kind of show you how they all work as we go along here, is that if you wanted to customize some of our very successful templates and you wanted to make them your own, this is a great way to do it, where you can still make it your own with one click, but you can stay right in line with how well that ad's been performing in the market. So you're not having to start from scratch. And this same tool works very well in the customized ads as well. So that's the first thing I wanted to point out. It's really powerful. It's a great way to make those changes. Plus, you can even, if you want, you can actually change the language. If you wanted to put French or Spanish in there, you can do that as well. Okay, so if you have any questions on that, let me know. But that was the first thing I wanted to point out. So look for these customized ad templates. The second thing is that when you launch these ads, and I'll show you a couple of Wendy's here, an example too, we actually have a neat little feature that this one's more prototyping, but depending on your feedback, we can take it further, so just let us know how much you like it, where when we build an ad for you, Wendy will notice as she gets these emails, we're actually creating for you now specific text messages around each ad. Now, at this particular stage, we're not putting them yet into your automation automatically. We have a little video on how to do that. And if you click this button, it'll link right to the automation. But for example, when Wendy launches an ad, and in this case, this is talking about, home value, all of these messages here are being dynamically created for her really quickly based on the ad she just created. If I go next, you'll see here's a different one that she just ran for a luxury home, and it's completely different text messages. So one of the things that we're working on is, like, as great as ChatGPT is, we don't want you to have to go and post launching an ad, get your ad copy, and say, hey, this is the sequence I want, and this is what works, and then you got to come back and copy it. We're trying to make this as streamlined and as simple as possible for you. So here's another example of where it's working for you in the background. And if you like these messages, right now, you can just click Edit Automation. It'll take you right to your automation, to the exact spot that you'd have to add these messages. And you would just copy and paste these ones in or modify them as you see fit. So that's another aspect of some of the AI in play. This, though, the next one is where I think it gets really exciting. So this is the beginning of something I think truly wonderful. And a lot of clients are starting to use it now. And I think, well, I'll talk a little bit more. Yeah, I'll open this one up a little bit more. So when you're running ads in StreetText and you're a busy agent, you're out showing properties, maybe it's the weekend and you're busy, you don't want your ads to accidentally run off course, and you don't want to be spending more per lead than you should be. And that's happened to many, many agents when they're just busy and they don't have time to check things. Or, on top of that, even if your ad does go off course, you might have some time to log in, turn it off, but then you're like, oh, I got to find some time to relaunch that same ad again. I just didn't have any time right now. So I wanted to introduce to you our AI functionality around that for the ads, making these ads automatic. And in addition, I'll talk a little bit about where it's going. And this exact ad that you're seeing right here is actually an example of it the whole way through. So if I click on this little button here, and you will see this both in your ad section when you're running your ads, as well as when you're launching an ad, you can actually set these as well. So Sean here in this example, when this lead cost, when the lead cost exceeds $10, this ad is automatically going to shut off. And that by itself is a huge feature for many, many agents. It's just, if it exceeds $10, I don't want to be spending any more money than that. I just want the ad to turn off. And so this is really helpful when you have a little bit of data on your ad account or the ads you're using. For example, if you set this at $1, your ad's never going to do anything because in your market, the leads are probably going to be in that, and obviously in this market, probably between $5 to $10. So $10 is the right number to set. So in other words, I would set it a little bit higher or kind of at your max threshold, but don't set it too low. So $10 is the right number for this ad here. And you can see that because this example behind, you can actually see that it's sitting about $5 a lead. So this ad's going to automatically turn off when it hits $10. But what Sean has set up here is that when that ad fails or hits that target, it's going to automatically relaunch the ad. And for those of you that want the ad to relaunch identical to how it launched before, you don't want it to make any changes, you would just select this relaunch the ad. You would select this tab right here. And the ad will basically be exactly like it was before. No changes, no modifications. You can leave it as is. The copy will stay the same. The image will stay the same. And, for many of you, that's, you might feel comfortable with just that. Or if you select this use AI generated creative, what our system is actually starting to do is it's looking at how well your ad performed. It's looking at copy that performs well and images that perform well in your account. And then it's making suggestions and it's making some changes. So for example, when I click cancel, this image that was created on this ad never existed before. This is one that our system built, and we made changes to the copy that weren't in the ad before as well. So it's completely modified and it's generating right now. It's only just launched. So it's got one lead already at about $5. So if I click view your ad, just so you can see that a little bit closer, we're not using ChatGPT, we're not using Dolly or anything or this one here, we're using something else. And so you can see this is the image that was generated. And we noticed a significant improvement to this process when we started running images using this new system than the one before. And so we're always improving our system when it comes to generating new images, because that's one of the big things that stops people scroll. And it has to be the right image for the right ad at the right time. And so this is a very exciting feature because it's just the beginning of what we think is, where you could actually truly start to make your ads even more automatic, where our system can start to make a number of predictions and changes if you enable it, perhaps even to your budget, perhaps even to just small little details on how the ad's performing. So we can talk more about that in the coming days, but hopefully you find that really exciting. It's becoming one of our most popular features, and it's saving our customers a ton of money and a ton of time. Okay, so moving on.
Can I just jump into something real quick? So this is where we want to go with this, where exactly what Steve was saying. Imagine having AI taking your ads to a system where it is entirely automatic, based on not just the cost per lead that you're wanting, but the goals that you have for your business. So I'm going to share my screen real fast, Steve, and then you can share it right back. Just want to show you this as an example. So in this case, I'm in Chase's account, and you'll see something up here where we call it ad tools, but basically you see you've got your budget set here, and this is Chase's monthly budget that he's spending for his ads. He's got a team, he's got people under there. But what I want to show you there is if you actually go to edit this monthly budget, what we've done is we've created you can optimize your planner accordingly, but you can actually start to say, okay, what's my average customer value? What's my lead? Basically, what's my conversion rate? Is it 1%? Is it 2%? Is it 3%? We've seen as high as 14%. So it's really business dependent, but what are you seeing as your average conversion rate? And then what do you want to, in this case, what does he want to spend? And it will break it down all the way down to what is your projected revenue goal from advertising. So in this case, if he's saying, okay, I'm willing to spend $18,000, but I want to get $600,000 back, this is exactly the path that he's on, 100%. Like there's no, so you can see the numbers, but you can also optimize it for revenue, because a lot of people will say, well, okay, I have a goal I want to achieve in the next 12 months, and then I can work backwards from there by setting my numbers, and it will calculate what your projected spend is. And what's really neat about this is we're actually going to tie this into over time the AI system. So you could actually go and set a goal. You could say, okay, here's how much I want to actually generate from my advertising. And then that starts to tie directly into the AI that's now optimizing your ads automatically so that you can hit your revenue goal that you've set from your advertising. So in this case, he's using, and you can do it either way. Some people are more, they're focused on a set amount of a budget that they want to work with, and then they see it work that way. And then also you can focus on the revenue. And what's really neat as well is you can play with numbers and you can see the impact that, converting, like improving your conversion rate, even just like 0.5%, literally now he's at $1 million of revenue from that, that he's generating from his spend. And so it just helps to clarify sort of like where in the business there's opportunities to see like massive improvement through the ads. But yeah, so back to you, Steve.
Thank you. I'll just bring my screen up again here. So does anybody have any comments or thoughts sort of on the, Wendy, have you tried the auto launch feature yet at all?
Yeah, no. So I did the $10 one, like if it goes over $10, they turn them off. But I was kind of scared to press the button on relaunching because I wouldn't know what that would look like if they relaunched. So I just kind of wanted to see what you guys had to say about that before I did that. But they have like turned it off. I get things saying your ad's been turned off, you're spending too much money. And I'm like, oh, yay. StreetText looking out for my bank account. So I do love that feature. I also love the feature of the budget. Like don't go to mine because it clearly shows I'm over budget, but I have some ads in testing right now to see which ones I need to keep and turn off. So anyway, but I do like that, even though it's always in the red zone. But you know, I think my budget is here, but I know it'll be here. So at least it's in the back of your mind what you're spending.
Well, I know we have a couple questions, so I'll go to those two. With our system, Wendy, where this is going is because we have a fair bit of data in your account that you've been with all the ads that you've been running. This is only going to get smarter and better. It's going to start to really be able to look at what are the attributes in the images you run that do well, what are the attributes of the copy that you do well, and our system is going to start to self-learn based on that too. So if it makes a change and it doesn't perform as good, it's going to be able to then correct and try another change. And so, and you can also do it on just say one ad. Like you can even see in this example, Sean. Sean's got it on this ad, but doesn't have it on the other ads. So you can be
Can you
super
add
selective.
it later? Like, can I go in and
Oh
add
yeah.
it?
Yeah, you can even be running an ad for a while and you don't have to, it's available for you to set up when you're launching the ad, but you can just leave it off. And then later, like in this example, let's say Sean's got this ad running and decides that wants to add it, you just click this here, and now you can select it on and set the settings, right? So you can
Oh,
add it on
okay.
at any time. You can turn it off at any time, and you can do it ad by ad. It doesn't have to be, account wide. And I know we're gonna a couple questions, so we'll go to those too. But where this is going though is that, and this is one of the, I think the truly powerful things versus trying to run ads on your own in Facebook or something like that, is that, or even through an agency, is that StreetText is going to be able to learn from every single decision that happens in your account. And it's going to apply all of that knowledge and learning to your next ad that you're going to be launching, to the point where when you start creating ads in the future, we're already adding those recommendations for you. So you'll have that available. So more exciting stuff to come when we do another one of these Tech Tuesdays. But this already where it's at today is already a huge time saver and a money saver. So I encourage you to provide some feedback. I mean, I'd love to hear from you what you like, dislike, because we're applying all of that, to the learning
I
model
do
going
have a
forward.
question on
Yep.
the email that you send, having all of the different text messages you can set up. Do you need to go to each, what say you do a 3-split test? Do you have to do it on all 3 ads or just the one? And then
Just the one.
Okay.
Yeah, it's smart enough that if you're doing a split test and you want to add the text messages, as soon as you click that button in the email, it'll link you to the right place. You add your text messages there, it'll add it to all 3 automatically. So if you
Okay.
turn off your split test and you just keep the one, you don't have to add them again. It's smart enough to do that.
Yeah, and we have some really cool updates coming to the split test that we're actually working on right now. So for anybody who doesn't know, when you show your ad to on when you create an ad on Meta, even if you select an audience, who your ad is shown to changes every time you launch an ad. And Meta uses the data that it gets to determine who the next people are that they're going to show that ad to. And the problem is that you can get really lucky or you can get really unlucky based on who the first people is that they show the ad to. And so if you get really unlucky, they don't know who's converting and your cost per lead is sky high and you don't know why. It's like, why is it that my ads are never as good as so and so's? Well, it's because it got unlucky with the audience. And so split test, what it does is you, rather than just creating one ad, it creates the same ad, the duplicate ad, 3 or 5 times, depending how many you want to run. And what it does is every time it creates an ad, it's actually showing to a different audience on Facebook and Instagram. And from that audience, you're going to see a totally different cost per lead within the next like 12 to 24 hours. And so we've got some really cool stuff, and we're actually going to be pulling the split test part into the AI relaunch mechanism as well. And we're going to, but now imagine, so if you've got a budget, say you have a monthly budget, and like, I don't want to exceed this budget, then what you can do is over time that AI can start to be optimizing your ads automatically for you, creating split tests, but always keeping the ad budget within your within the safe zone that you feel comfortable spending that month. But you know that those ads are always working on your behalf so that you're getting the contacts generated, but you can then focus on the other things. And of course, you can always jump in and you might have like a listing you want to create an open house for, or you want to have something else that you're just, marketing is fun. And so sometimes you just have an idea and you want to play with it and put it out there. And you can still do that, but then AI will just know and it'll say, okay, my budget is adjusted, so I'm going to have to adapt the strategy accordingly. And so that part of it, I'm really excited. So I'm kind of painting a little bit about the future. So we've been working really hard on this, but it's getting very fun. Like we're at that point, like you can kind of extrapolate it a little bit. Like look at what's happened in the last 12 months. Now imagine the next 12 months. And it's really cool. It's very cool.
All right.
Awesome.
I'll take a
I
couple
got it.
questions
I
here.
got it.
Oh,
I got a question on that, Stephen. And I love how you're integrated with Follow Up Boss, and I don't know if you're in with Lofty just yet, but I would take it. Here's some food for thought on this, and it because just driving cost per lead down, I don't think is the most ideal goal. It's a good goal, but it's not the most ideal goal. I can tell you in my area, driving cost per lead down, I'm getting people that are 80 years old that just they're not moving until they die. And so that's really not the most optimum goal. And when you're talking about different audiences and things like that, my eyes are lighting up going, yeah, I need to relaunch some of these ads, not go after the lowest cost per lead, because some of these people that are more in the demographics that I'm probably after are going to be a little bit more cost per lead because other ads are trying to target those people. So one aha and that I'd like to share with you, that maybe take this and maybe run with it if you can, but because you follow up with or link with Follow Up Boss, I'm changing my status codes or my stages in Follow Up Boss. So there's like people that are going to be in certain stages that are just not good. And that's going to provide you feedback to work with to say, oh, maybe this audience isn't a good audience, or these stages are good audiences or good target people, and look at the quality of the lead and somehow integrate that into some of the automations that you do. And I think that would be like, wow.
Herb, I am very glad you said that and brought that up. It is so top of mind for us as well. That's exactly what we want to do. Who cares about the cost per lead when you have an ROI at the end of the day, like, right? That's what you care about. Which ads are actually driving the outcome that matters to you most? And so we haven't been able to solve it fully. And one of the challenges is that, and maybe you guys can let me know a little bit on this call too. Not every realtor tracks all of their deal closed or their transactions or their money or the other, like the close component of their business in their CRM. But we're trying to enable it where we can even pull it from spreadsheets and other things as well. But to your exact point, we need data to come back. More expensive leads can often be better, but you wouldn't know that unless we were able to show you where your actual, be it leads were sitting in a certain stage or a tag or a closed transaction, where they actually were coming from in the beginning. What was the journey of that lead? And so I totally agree. Love that feedback. We'll stay close to that. We'll actually try some things with you and yours as well to make sure that we're connected to the right stages. But we're thinking it could be something where you could, in your CRM, you could tag, this represents a good customer to me, or this represents a bad customer to me. And then we apply that across to
And
all
it
the
could be
ads
as
and leads.
simple as these stages are good, these stages are not good, because they
Mhm.
all start off as lead stage, and then they either go into hot or active, or they go into not in market or trash.
Yeah, and I think if realtors could often see the true ROI at the end of the day too, like when you actually see how much you made on one of your leads that went the whole way through, but you lost track of where that originated from or which ad it came in on. But when you actually see those numbers come together, you go, oh wow, my marketing spend was actually very successful. It's just hard. It's hard when you're running a business. It's hard to keep all of those pieces together. So well said. We're
Well,
definitely working
one
on
of the
that.
challenges with tying the dollars to it is the lag time can be a long time. But the
Mhm.
initial feedback that I can get you is what stage they're in. And if I could just say, these stages are good stages, these stages are not, or like, what's the conversion rate to one of those stages? Like, what's our contact rate? It's our contact rate and then our qualification rate. And so that really helps define what makes a good ad and what doesn't.
No,
Yeah.
100%. And have you been chatting a little bit to Logan? Because
Yeah,
he's very
yeah, for sure.
passionate about the same problem. And one of the possible solutions will be to sort of like rate your leads as you get them. Because let's say the goal is to get a bunch of homeowners, and you're like, okay, I wanted to get homeowners who I know have to move, but they're going to have to sell to move. But then, and you've got 3 ads running, and they're all getting good cost per lead, roughly equal. But one of them is getting a lot of renters, and one of them is getting a lot of homeowners. Which of those is going to end up being better ads in the long run? It's pretty obvious.
Yeah.
And so if
Yeah.
you can get that feedback early on, then this one will just automatically turn off. And the one that is performing starts to get that budget allocated to it incrementally, so it can expand and scale without losing the performance that it's getting. So it's, yeah, so that, yeah, that's awesome, Herb. That was great feedback. That was good. Yeah, so that, very good. Thank you.
All
Yeah.
right.
And a lot of
Oh,
that,
go ahead.
Jackie
a lot
has
of
a
that
question.
information is going to be in the tags. Yeah.
Yes. Agreed. We'll dig into that one more. All right, Jackie.
So I think Jonathan answered my question a little bit, but I just want to clarify. When the AI automatically turns off your ad, and then it gets turned back on, it gets a whole new audience, and any comments under that ad are gone also, correct?
Yeah, and that's not necessarily always the ideal scenario. Sometimes you've got good comments on an ad as well. But yes, currently it is. And so yeah, we internally talk about that a lot, because sometimes it's nice to reuse a post with your engagement, and sometimes it's nice to have a completely new start. The way that the AI is running right now, though, it's going to give it a new start each time.
Okay.
Mhm.
So
Often,
I
Jackie,
was
like
going to
if
say,
you,
when would that be beneficial to go ahead and just turn that off? Because I've been running one ad this entire time. I think I've been with StreetText for I think going on 4 years now. And I have the what's your home value, but here we can't say that. So it's what's your home worth.
Yeah.
Here in Texas, you can't use the value word. Um, so I've been running that, and I have probably over 100 different comments, 300 and something likes or loves, type thing. And so I never turned that off, but I started a whole new ad, just copied it over. And I just was wondering, when would it be beneficial to go ahead and just turn it off, even though you have all of that activity going? I mean, it still does pretty fairly well for me,
oh,
but
Jackie, if you have an ad that is performing strong, just keep it performing, because those those conversations that you have inside of there, it's providing so much credibility, social proof. It really helps the performance of that ad. That said, sometimes an ad will just stop performing randomly. Like it'll just be a sudden drop in performance. It doesn't mean that that ad that you're running right now won't perform again. But if that happens, like if you see it where you're like, oh, I was getting a cost per lead of whatever it was, and now it's dropped or doubled in cost in the span of like, let's say 8 days, 9 days, 10 days, because it's had such a long performance, you can give it a little bit of time. Because it might recalibrate. But if that happens, then you can pause that ad. But what I would do in that case, pause it, but let it rest for like 2 weeks. Because sometimes that's all it needs. It just needs a rest period. And then when you reactivate it, Meta will actually reset the audience that it's showing it to. And then it'll give it the opportunity to keep going. So if you have a great ad like you do, I would keep it as sort of like a winner ad in your mind. And so you can always have that in your tool belt. It's a black belt ad basically. So you just want to keep it running, and then you can
so when
complement
you
other ads.
pause it, does it take away all the comments too?
No, no,
When
no.
you
You
pause
can
it and turn it
pause
back
it,
on?
and then yeah, just pause it for like a couple of weeks. If the performance was to, uh, let's say the cost per lead
Rejuvenate it.
doubled or
Yeah.
something dramatic.
Uh-huh.
But if it doesn't, just let it do its thing, because if you get an ad like yours, oh, those are the best. That's what everybody wants. Yeah.
Yeah, I feel very blessed to have that. That's for sure. It's been beautiful.
I know we have another question, but I just want to add to that too. We also are trying to, or we're building in a system to detect if your post has good engagement, because John is often, when he's running our own ads, for example, if you've got good engagement on a post, you're better off to leverage that in your next ad going forward as well. So yeah, keep that ad running as long as you can. And by the time it ever loses performance, we should have a solution for that too. All right. Thanks, Jackie.
Thank you
Sherry.
both.
Hi, in regards to Jackie's question, someone, I can't remember who told me this before, told me also to reduce the daily budget on an ad like that. Something, I don't know what it does with Meta, but it's something with the algorithms or the audiences or something like that to get it back up and being a well-running ad. Is that true, or do you recommend the pause for 2 weeks?
Okay, so in that case, let's say you have an ad that you're running. This is Logan's method, and it's awesome. Like he is truly gifted when it comes to figuring out these nuances. But basically, if you have an ad, let's say it's running at $10 a day, and you notice that it's not spending all $10 a day, but it's a good performing ad. What you can do is you reduce its spend until you're roughly within that. So maybe it's spending $9 a day, $8 a day. You're reducing that spend slowly from $10 to $9, and then from $9 to $8 until you're within that threshold. That cost per lead will settle down, because otherwise what happens is Facebook will it'll just slowly push that cost per lead up because it's happy to spend your money for you, even if it's not really getting the results that you're looking for. Let it run like that for a little while, and then you can slowly start increasing the budget. And sometimes that's all it takes for Meta just to say like, oh, this is the cost per lead that you want. And so we're gonna work harder to make sure we keep within that that framework. And that's another part that we really want to figure out how to actually design the AI system so it's automatically doing those kind of changes as well when it detects that that's the right strategy. But in that's a very yeah, so if you see that, but that's a very hands-on management style, but it's a nuanced strategy. So you can definitely implement that as well. If you see that, if you see that you're basically like look at what your spend is and look at what your budget is. And if they're just not correlating, you know that cost per lead is going to go up soon.
Okay, thank you.
Awesome. Well, those are great questions. And I know Jessica had asked, does this work for remarketing ads as well? And not yet, because one of the challenges with the remarketing ads is that you already have all the leads in your system for the most part. So we're not doing it on the leads. So we could base it on cost per reach, but that might not work. So probably more to what Herb was describing, if we can connect it overall to ROI and what the who's seeing what. So the remarketing ads is still coming. It's not available for that yet. All right, so if you have any other questions, feel free to, put your hand up or put it in the chat, but I'll just go, hop over here and show you one more thing. So we have one other tool that we've been playing with and building, and this is just a fun tool, and all of you are able to use it, and you can try it out and give us feedback. Minus the fact that you need to wait a couple minutes right after this call before you play with it. But I'll bet Wendy maybe make a post on it. But it's streettext.com/AI, or if you go to streettext.com, you'll see a little banner at the top that you can click on. And we created these 3 different categories just as a starting spot for you to do some fun things. So for example, and I'll show you an example of each. Maybe you just want to run an ad based on an idea you have. Or maybe you saw an ad on Facebook that you really liked that you wanted to use as sort of like a starting spot for your own. Or maybe you've been creating these incredible blog content, and you just want, and this is great for remarketing ad, for example, and you just wanted to take that post, quickly leverage it and create an ad. And so these are just starting spots. They're just sort of fun things, but I'd love to hear your feedback. So I'll show you an example of each. So the first one I'll show you is the blog one. So here's StreetText. Here's a blog article we have on John had written on in regards to follow-up boss and StreetText. And so what you'll notice here is that when I ran this one, we'll just go through here, and so you'll see here, this is what it returns. So essentially, it uses a special kind of writing style for remarketing. And again, when people see this, remember, they're going to see a read more. So it's going to capture the first little part of the ad, and it's going to say read more. But the person can read more. They can see a whole bunch of highlights from the blog post itself. It even pulls in the image for you, so you can just quickly download this. It's all available. Again, you could use this on anybody's blog. It doesn't have to even be your own. You could use this tool on anything and capture it all. And then same idea, you would just deploy this to Facebook and Instagram. And now you have essentially taken a blog article and turned it into an ad format that you can use. It even gives you a title that you can use, etc. So another one after that is I just scrolled down and I saw this World Vision ad. Now, of course, you probably wouldn't use a World Vision ad, but let's say you saw a competitor ad that you liked. I just grabbed this one really quickly before the meeting. And so if I did this and I screenshotted this and I was uploading the screenshot, so for example, here, if I went to this one here, I would just, paste that screenshot right here. I drag it over here or choose to upload it. And then I put in my email. Then I click create my ad. This is what it created for me. I haven't even looked at this one yet, so hopefully it came out good. Oops, this is the other one I'm going to do for Wendy. I'll show you in a second. Here's an example. So it's basically contributions to a campaign name enables us to access the most challenging regions globally. And so it's doing a pretty good job. And it actually created this image as well, which is kind of amazing, right? If you think about it, like this was the original ad. It's not the same, but it made its own version of it. And it did it really, really well. The third one I did just for fun is if I go here, I'll read you what I wrote. And so Wendy, hopefully it turned out. I said, I'm looking to find people who break down their 4x4 trucks in the desert valley. And so if I go to this one here and I click next on this one, it was basically, desert stranded vehicle woes. And so again, it's just an idea that it comes up with call now. And it basically came up with this. It's okay. I wouldn't say it's the most amazing one, but it's a starting spot, right? So this tool is just a great tool if you're just looking for some ideas. So maybe you want to turn a blog post into a remarketing ad. Maybe you want to copy a competitor's ad and just get a starting spot to try something of your own, or you want to come up with an idea, use this.
And one way I've been using it is using the create an app from screenshot. Even say you see something, you're like, oh, that's so inspirational, I love it, but I don't own the copyright to it. So I've just been pasting it into the create an app from screenshot, and it just creates like an alternative version. I actually even did it for, those like old school, like you see the person rowing in the mist and there's like an inspirational quote at the bottom. And I was like, oh, I love that. I wanted to create one. So I dropped it into the create an app from screenshot, and it generated an epic photo, but now the copyright is yours. So you can use it. And so it's really neat. I've been playing with it a lot.
Like words on screen. So photo is words on screen is what you're like screenshotting. Does it read the words on screen or no?
Oh yeah. Yeah.
Yeah, it does. But like as an example, let me pull it up. Actually, I'll pull it up right now. Like this, I'll share my screen real quick here, Steve, just so you can see. Like this is AI generated.
Mm-hmm.
Like, isn't that amazing? And I used it. I started it from. Let's pull up another one here. So this one here. Let's see, I gotta pull these up together. Let's see if I can do that. So in this case, I uploaded this graphic, which had the quotes and the words, and then it generated this one for me. So this is AI generated, but then I was just able to apply the words and everything else, because otherwise it pulls these words out and it'll put it into the body and the title description, and it generates its own version. But I just thought this is so neat, because sometimes you'll see something, you're inspired by it, you want to share something similar, but you don't have the copyright to it. And so this way you can generate something that's an alternative that works great on social, but then is yours to share.
That's
So
cool.
just a little caveat, don't use it right now. Use it in about 10 or 15 minutes, but I'll send out, or I'll let Wendy post that out when you can use it. It was working perfectly, and then I tried to do something right before this meeting and broke it. So
it's always in development. So just know that the version you play with on Monday is different than the version you'll play with on Wednesday, and so on. But it is neat. Yeah.
Joanne, can you grab the streettext.com/AI and put it in the email that goes out to everybody with the replay? By the time we do that, it should be fixed.
So, let us know if you have any more questions, because I know we got a couple minutes, and Wendy will take it over here and again in a minute. But I hope that you see, there's so much more power than just even going to ChatGPT. There's how you can leverage it within the systems that you're using. And I'm truly excited about what it's going to mean for just learning based on what you're running and your ads and what your unique business, or as well said by her, like learning even from the actual results you're getting at the end of the day. Which leads are closing, which leads are not closing, how can that be applied? and the system's only going to get smarter. And so we're very excited, as John said. We look at the last 12 months of what's possible, not only with what we were able to do, but just where AI has come in the last 12 months. I mean, even those images is amazing. What will the next 12 months look like? It's pretty fun. So with that, excited to definitely come to our next one that we do on AI as well, because there'll be a number of changes when that happens. But with that, Wendy, I'll hand it back to you.
Awesome. Thank you, guys. I appreciate you. Looks like Bonnie has a question real quick.
I do. Is there a way when you hit the remix ad copy, is there a way to get emojis in there?
They should be. I guess we don't have that yet, but we should have a little feature like that with emojis. In that case, you may have to go off to a tool like ChatGPT, ask for some emojis and copy and paste it back. But we should have something like that in the future.
That's funny.
Good idea.
Just be like, rewrite with AI emoji, like, because some people don't like emojis. Some people love emojis. I have a feeling like everybody on this call loves emojis because they're my tribe. So, but it's pretty easy to just hop in there and add a couple emojis. So don't have to have them, but I love that. And I love pulling inspirational quotes and stuff, making them your own. That's so cool. I like that idea. And other people's stuff. Like there's some freaking geniuses out there, right? And if you can, just grab an idea and make it, make it similar to that, but not get in trouble. I'm always in trouble. So this is StreetText keeping me out of trouble. Yay. Thank you.
You may even have an ad that you've run and you're like, oh, I love this ad. It always performs so good. I would love to create a variation of it. You can just use your own ad, put it in there. Let's say there's a concept like a new construction and you've got, those renderings of the buildings and they'll show the water and they make it always look so nice. You can actually take that, create an alternative of it or variation because it's just kind of like a future concept. You'll be surprised how similar it'll be in the variation, but it gives it like different lighting, it's very cool. Yeah, it's because you can use it for so many things. Once you start playing with it, like I just can't stop using it. So it's definitely addictive.
I know we're all never going to get any real work done. Just kidding. This is work. This is our job now, to be marketing maniacs. So super excited to have tools that help us do that. So speaking of tools, not that I'm a tool, but we do have Tech Tuesday VIP right after this call, where we actually work on all this stuff together. So get that running because someone's going to ask me that question. Just kidding. Anyway, so we do have Tech Tuesday VIP. I know a lot of people are asking me what's the difference between that and luxury. Well, VIP, we're working on everything tech, so whether it's running ads, running YouTube, building your YouTube, building audiences, doing Canva templates, creating events, doing webinars, like whatever it is that you need help with, we're working on it. I'm helping people work on that stuff. So it's kind of cool. The luxury is literally just focusing on luxury and like my whole workflow of how I landed 12 luxury listings in 12 months. Yes, it went up. I'm super excited. We just got 2 more. So anyway, I have a whole process. So it comes with the Notion page and with unlimited luxury workshops that happen every Friday. So a huge thing that's going on over there, which I love because now that people are actually ordering the books and sending the books out and getting the appointments, I'm seeing wins. And so it's pretty cool. So, but we are literally only working on luxury stuff there. Tech Tuesday VIP, we're working on everything. Bonnie. Oh, you gave me a thumbs up. Okay. She's in VIP. She loves it. I mean, you just bring your questions and then we just answer them. And it's kind of cool just to hang out because sometimes people just learn what other people are doing and then they go and do it. It's kind of neat, huh? I love that kind of, collaboration. So anyway, that's what we have going on in there. Joanna has dropped a link to the Stan store. I believe everybody that's on these calls right now gets an email with the replay. So we're not dropping that in anymore because people kept filling out the form and we have you in there 50 times. So anyway, everybody will get the link or the replay for this. We did drop a 7-day free trial in here for StreetText because if you're not using it, dude, seriously, 7 days of free StreetText. The thing is it doesn't have a lot in the 7-day free trial. You got to go full boat in order to get all the goods, which trust me, you want to go full boat because it's just mind blowing and it will change your life. When I talk to people about, their prospecting, are you doing your prospecting like 2 hours a day? Like if you're not selling houses, you should be prospecting 2 hours a day. And they're like, well, who am I calling? I'm like, okay, let's back up. Let's generate some leads because you got to have people to call, right? So this is an easy way to fill that pipeline. Yes, no, they're not all perfect. They don't all have a perfect phone number and remember what ad they clicked on and gave the correct email, because a lot of people, when you pull the Facebook information, right, it's false information because they don't have the correct information in their Facebook because they think, the government's going to take it or whatever it is, so you got to do some digging and try to find better phone numbers and emails, or you're just retargeting them, right? They're in your database and now you're just retargeting them, staying in front of them. And, eventually they may reach out with a correct email and phone number if they want to get a hold of you, or maybe they'll just call you. So anyway, so just keep doing the things, but yeah, you got to fill that pipeline in order to, do your prospecting. Otherwise you're going to be door knocking and cold calling. I'm sorry, Herb. I know you love doing that, but I do not. I like to digitally door knock. Let's go. Spend some money, bring in the leads, and then convert. All right. So anybody else have any other questions they want to throw out here for our street texters? Anybody doing any really cool ads that are working really good? Like
I just wanted to throw out real quick that if we all like emojis, I've heard that like profiles us age-wise, just saying.
What? So are they saying old people don't like emojis?
No,
or
they say old
people
people like emojis and young people
really?
don't. Yeah,
Oh,
so
oh my gosh.
I know.
And my
know.
daughter.
Emojis,
Oh
don't get me
man.
wrong, I love emojis and I use them all the time and I use them with my clients too. And if they
so
don't like the
funny.
emojis, too bad. They get them anyways.
That is so funny. I know my kids, they're like 22 and 28, and they have all these weird abbreviations.
Yes.
I have
Yeah.
no idea what they're
They
talking
do
about.
not use emojis. I have
They
a
use weird words.
19-year-old, 19 to 30, and none of them use emojis. And they tell me that's an old woman's thing to do. So
That
there
is
you go.
hilarious. Oh my gosh. Okay, Blanca, what category are you in?
I actually just have a curious question. So I ran an ad on Facebook this weekend and somebody responded to it. And the first thing, it asks is, what's your email? And they said, stop. And I said, great, I got your email now. How about, what's your phone number? And it just kept saying stop. And it got angrier and angry with an angry face. And it said, wonderful. If stop with an angry face is your phone number, I will be in touch. And I was just kind of wondering, do you have systems in place for something like that, where it's just like,
Did
I'm not
Julie do that,
everybody.
or did you do that?
No, Facebook did, they didn't recognize stop. So that just kind of continued and continued. And I'm just like, this lady is like, really, you better stop. So I had to apologize to her, but it was just like, oh my gosh.
I
She
love
really
it.
does.
Yeah, so we do. Stop is one of the recognized
Yeah, that's what I
signals
thought,
to stop. I'm
I'm like,
surprised.
why didn't Facebook do that?
Yeah, they didn't do that. So we do have systems for stop. Um, the funny thing is, what was it, last week? We were talking in the mastermind, and one of the things that they were sharing was the fact that sometimes people will come in. This was Michelle. So Michelle was talking about the fact that people will come in and they'll say stop or I'm not interested. But then just because they're staying in through communication, through the emails, through the follow-up, through remarketing, they'll re-engage later. So they'll come back later because now they've seen you, they've gotten to know you, it's that consistency of follow-up, so that people, those trust barriers slowly fall down, and they're like, okay, this person is real. I can trust them. I can trust them with my business. Because that's a lot of times people are afraid that they provide information that they're going to get spammed. And so if someone does say stop, we want to respect that. So they feel like, oh, I can trust this process.
Yeah. No,
Yeah.
I did not run it through StreetText. It was through the Meta Facebook ads that we've been.
Gotcha. Because I was going to say, we would have caught that. So I was wondering if there was a problem. Okay.
That's hilarious. I know I said stop the other day and it was LinkedIn and he goes, okay, I will absolutely stop, but you're the one that messaged me in LinkedIn and wanted to meet.
Oh, it's so funny, right?
He like texted me. It sounded like a freaking sales robot. And I was like, just stop. And he's like, okay, now I'm confused. I was like, oh shoot. I hate when I tell a real person to stop. John, you have a question?
Along the same line, so when you get a stop, and I have this last week, do you delete that person at a follow-up boss, or what's the recommended play? You just leave them in there and don't. How do you turn off everything so that they don't continue to get your drips and they get mad because you haven't stopped?
On StreetText side, that happens automatically. And we pass that information over to follow-up boss, so they'll get the unsubscribe notice or whatever it is. But the remarketing, you're allowed to still remarket to them through the ad. So they're still part of your audience. They're part of the engagement. They obviously raised their hand. They were interested. They're just not ready to have a conversation. And so you can still keep like remarketing to them, because if they start looking at properties, you still want them to look at your homes. You still want them to look at see your ads and your offers. And so if they come through again, maybe it's 2 weeks later, it could be 3 months later.
Right.
Now they're at that place. But yeah, the other parts of communication, they stop automatically. So
Okay, so and then along the same line, I know it's a different company, but I use Fellow as well, and I'm trying to figure out, well, do they keep trying to get their home value from or to them with their drips, or do they also stop?
They stop. Yeah,
Okay.
so it depends on who says stop where. So if you say stop in a StreetText ad, Julie automatically stops talking to you anyway, right? Once you say something. So that stop is saying something. So nothing else is going to come from Julie, right? And then if they unsubscribe from Fellow is going to stop,
Okay.
if you still have them on some cool action plan in follow-up box,
No, I wouldn't.
they're gonna still get that.
Yeah, I figured that. That's fine. I can control that.
Right.
Right.
Yeah.
Good.
So I mean, I just kind of gonna keep them on everything, because you're still, if you delete them out of follow-up box, they will no longer be in an audience. So
Okay.
I keep them in an audience so I can stay in front of them, because sometimes they're saying stop because they're in the middle of work and it's a really bad idea to talk to them right now. But then they'll see a list of luxury homes that they'll click on and start shopping, because now it's the weekend and they're at having a barbecue. And
well, like Jonathan said, the trust curtain starts coming down,
right,
or going up or whatever.
Yeah, and there's so many examples of people where stop became a sale. To Wendy's exact point, you just don't know what the context is. So don't delete them. Just keep remarketing to them in whatever possible way. And who knows what 6 months might look like, or a year or whatnot.
right.
Thank you.
Awesome, guys.
Does that same stop the emails also?
No.
They have to. So if they click stop, they're stopping Julie. I'm assuming that's normally what the word stop does. It's normally based on a text message. In StreetText emails, just like follow-up boss and just like Fellow, there's an unsubscribe there. So if they interact with any of that, most systems don't have a global unsubscribe for the same reason that Wendy pointed out. Like some people might want to stop a channel, but they don't necessarily want to stop everything. Like if they're liking an updated home value on their home over here, but they don't want this communication over there, it's they stop what they don't want. So
right. All right, guys, I gotta hop off and get into the VIP room. See you. Have a good week. Next week is Halloween marketing.
Thank you. Bye.
Bye.